Hey everybody, Matt Hartman here for Drunkard's Walk. Thanks so much for listening, and thank you to Jesse L.E. for our theme music and Nick Carmio for our artwork. A big thank you to our guests today, the Bragg Brothers. Hopefully you will enjoy listening to them. And if you do, you should go ahead and give us a rating on iTunes. Give us a review if you want to go even a step further than that. And if you want to check out other options and things that we have, check out our link tree at linktr.ee/drunkardswalk. You can get access to our submission page, so you can submit a topic idea for yourself and be on as a guest. You can also find links to our merch, and I think that our email is on there, and our Facebook, and all that great stuff. Instagram, those things too. So go ahead and check that out, and enjoy the episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Drunkard's Walk, the podcast. It's me. It's Matt Hartman. I'm one of the hosts of Drunkard's Walk. And if you've listened before, you already knew that. And if you haven't, then you probably don't care. But welcome. We're glad that you're joining us today. We're glad that you're listening to our wonderful podcast. Well, I say it's wonderful. I have to. I'm biased. And the only other person that has to say it's wonderful is, of course, my co-host, Jethro Nolan.
Hi, everybody. It's okay.
What?
It's fine.
Jethro.
I mean, I don't want to oversell it. Like, we like it because we do it, but honestly, by the standards of a lot of podcasts, it's a bit slapdash.
You listen to other podcasts?
A lot of the humor is not really well thought out. Some of it's borderline offensive. Quite frankly, some of it's beyond borderline offensive. Mostly the things I say. Yeah, it's. I mean, I've listened to better, funnier podcasts. Valley Heat. If you haven't listened to Valley Heat, it's a wonderful podcast. It's much more professionally produced than this
Jethro,
one. So I give that a recommendation.
Jethro, stop. They can pause it and go listen to something else right now. They don't have to keep listening. Stop telling them good things to listen to right now.
Listen, I don't want to be one of those people who says, like, the thing that I created is the best thing. Like, it's fine. It's lovely. I don't, people aren't expecting to, like, be healed by this podcast. They're like, hey, here's a momentary diversion where they go through Wikipedia from one page to another through the internal Wikipedia links, and they have some funny and sometimes combative banter. That's what it is. You're not going to regain the ability to see. If you're in a wheelchair, by the end of this episode, you're still going to be in a wheelchair.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well,
you don't need to feel bad about it. The person in the wheelchair listening to this. They know that. They don't need you to feel bad for them, Matt.
I'm not feeling bad for them. I'm feeling bad for you. What are you doing? Where are you going with all of this? Why are you talking? Just say that it's nice, say that it's wonderful, and let's move on from it.
You know what? I don't like the false theater of small social niceties. I find that to be enormously burdensome. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather say the absolute unvarnished truth, even though it's not socially acceptable.
Sure.
I'm well into my cranky old man phase, and it's only going to get worse from here.
Well, I did enjoy the false theater of you throwing in, like, the summary of our podcast in your rant there. That was pretty good. That was well done.
That was for you. I knew we were going to have to do it, so I snuck that in.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I appreciate how you called out that I snuck that in there. So
I had to. Right. Well, you said false theater. If you hadn't, I wouldn't have brought it up. But it just go. It connected in my brain. So if you haven't listened before, you know what's up, and you can see the kind of rapport that we have. It's fantastic. Not wonderful, but fantastic. And
we're okay friends.
Yeah, we're fine. We get along okay, to the point that Jethro left the state to get further away.
I left the state to find in-state tuition for my daughter. I did not leave the state because of you.
Okay.
In fact, I even tried to get my daughter to go to your alma mater because it would have saved me a whole lot of money. But she is stubborn and contrary, so she picked Michigan. So here we are.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, so you did mention that we're going to go from one page in Wikipedia to another, only using the links and things like that. And we know that we're starting at the Emu War because last week we had my lovely wife Emma on, and she gave us that topic, and we did get there. But we need a destination, Jethro, and every week we talk about how are we going to get this destination. And this week, I think I already know.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do tell.
Well, I think, see, here's the thing. There's not just one, there are two other people on the Zoom call right now. Yeah,
What?
that's right. That's right. Yeah, it's not our normal one. We brought on two, and you know who we got, Jethro? Look who it is. Look down there. You see who that is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
yeah,
It's the Bragg brothers.
yeah. It's the Bragg Brothers. They're right here. They're here. Hi, Bragg Brothers. How you doing?
Hello, I'm excited to be
Howdy.
here.
I'm
Welcome.
glad you're excited to be here. Now, if we were going to give first names to the Bragg Brothers, why don't you each say your first name so that we can identify your voices easily?
Certainly, I am Austin Bragg.
I'm Meredith Bragg.
And
Great.
which of you is the elder brother?
I am technically older than
I have
Austin.
lived a harder life, though.
When you say technically older, are you twins? Or
I mean, technically, I'm older because I'm older. You know, it's
what is the age gap, if I may inquire?
What, 2.5?
2.5, 2.5
Okay.
years.
I feel like you don't need to say technically. Then I feel like just
I think you're right.
I think
you're right.
Okay, that's fair.
But I would argue that spiritually, I'm probably well into my 80s at this
wow.
stage.
Okay.
That's good though. That's good. I feel like 80-year-olds are more spiritually advanced, so that's
Mhm.
probably a
They're
positive
closer.
sign.
They're
Precisely.
closer. Yeah.
Is that right? Is that true?
I mean,
Just go to
I
the
would
church
assume-
going public. I think
Yeah,
that's probably true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I
guess
would
so.
assume
Okay,
so.
that makes sense.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
I would imagine that if you live to 80, you learn some things that you don't get when you're 25 or whatever. So here we are, the Bragg brothers, Austin, Meredith. Thank you for joining us. And first of all, just I know that Austin, that you and Matt are old friends. Meredith, I'm assuming that you and Matt are at least tangentially old friends, but I've run into Austin more. So how did you and Matt meet? And Matt, can you qualify your relationship with Meredith? Is it purely through Austin, or do you have an independent dynamic going on with him?
It's a lot of tangents. But I'm very curious to hear what Austin has to say, and I want to verify as we go.
Well, unless I'm mistaken, Matt, you and I auditioned for Comedy Sports in DC at the exact same time.
Yep, that's correct. That is
And
correct.
that's,
That checks the box.
That would have been 2002? Is it that
2000
long ago?
2002. Yep.
Good Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely through that scene. And then when we started doing silly things on video, that's when Meredith showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. That is how I met Meredith, was through doing silly things on video.
Which is true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the first thing, Channel 101, right? Channel 101, or maybe there was
I
a
may
sketch
have
show before that.
Sketch show.
I may have
yeah.
seen you all at DC Improv. Like I may have seen you do improv with
Mhm.
Comedy Sports before we started doing video work, but it's all through Austin. Austin is the connection.
I am the linchpin.
Yes.
Or you the
yeah.
linchpin. Either way.
Either way,
Oh.
there's a linchpin, and it's either Matt or Austin. It's not me.
I was gonna say that you were the linchpin, Austin, but so yeah, no, that's right. We met doing the improv, and then we actually were roommates for a number of years that I can't remember, but we had an apartment and
We drank a lot. Yeah. No,
yeah.
I should probably apologize for the various things that happened while you were my roommate, but I don't it was so long ago.
You
I
were
don't
barely
remember.
ever around. You were
That
one of the
was-
best roommates I've ever had. Honestly, you made no sounds because you were never there. So it was, and then because I was your roommate, I got to be in your silly video films, which were great and a blast. And yeah, with Channel 101.
And the 48-hour film project, we did a lot of those together too before you decided to pull up stakes and head to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, kids and families and all that jazz.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So I'm not
here we
the
go.
only
This
one
is-
who's abandoned friends to move to a new state. All right,
Mhm,
you're laid it on
mhm.
pretty thickly.
I abandoned friends to move to an old state. To be clear,
Okay, fine.
I had come
Mm.
from here already, so it was just all
I'll give
old.
you half credit for that answer.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, but yeah. So we did, and your group's name that we did this all under was the Big Honkin', right?
Yeah, back when
Where did
we
that
were
come
in,
from?
When we were in college, we, much to the chagrin of our theater professors, started a sketch comedy show. And for lack of a better name, at one point, I think I just threw up my hands and said, "Screw it, we're just going to call it the Big Honkin' Sketch Show," and we did. And that was moderately successful as college sketch projects go, and we did a number of different shows over the years. And so once we graduated and started doing stuff on video, we just carried it over.
And Meredith, were you involved in those sketch shows as well?
From a distance. I had graduated before the sketch shows started, but I helped write them. And then there were some videos that I believe, I don't know if I helped edit them or help write them, but that was the beginning of our video journey. We created some ads, some fake trailers that played at Craft and Stillwell. Is that correct?
The campus movie theater.
The campus movie theater.
For the sketch show.
So we had to learn how to make videos in order to make those. And that's sort of what got the whole ball rolling.
Oh, so that's how this started. So neither of you have any formal training in filmmaking?
No.
None. No.
You know, speaking of the whole ball rolling, I understand that you've recently.
Nice job.
You know what? Thank you very much.
No, I think that's great.
That feels written. That feels written.
We're up for they're the Internet Segway Awards. They're called the Seggies, but
I like it.
We're up for one of those. But another thing that gets often up for awards are movie films, and I understand that
nice.
That's a double segue to the same topic.
Wow, has that ever been done before? Two segues, one topic.
Guys, you know what? I'm trying to do a triple Indy here and get 3 in. Triple Indy, by the way, comes from Back to School, which was a movie, and I understand that the two of you have recently made a film, and not like, and you know, we have creative friends who make films. I'm using air quotes, like, you know, they show it on the side of a garage somewhere, but you actually have a legitimate movie that has been released online across platforms that people have heard of, like Amazon Prime, et cetera, called Pinball: The Man Who Saved the Game. And I got to say, I watched this, my wife and I watched this on Sunday, and I say this as a pinball enthusiast for the last 20 years. It is a delightful film. It is absolutely wonderful. It is a very funny film. It is, I would just love to hear more about the project, how you brought it to life, how you're seeing it now that it's out there in the world and you have no more control over it. Just anything you care to share.
Sure. Well, I mean, background, right? All of those little things that we did with Channel 101 and 48 Hour Film Festival were fantastic. But that pretty much was our film school. And there came a point where we sort of felt like we had plateaued, right? Because we were doing everything. We were shooting, we were editing, we were lighting, we were doing the sound and the graphics. And, you know, you can only get but so deep on these things when you're doing it all. So about 5 years or so, we decided we needed to up our game and actually work with a crew. And so we made a short in LA, a small short with a crew. It was called Demand Curve. And that did fairly well on the festival circuit, enough that it garnered the attention of MPI Original Films, and they said, "We want you to make a bigger and better short film." And then we made one called A Piece of Cake with an even bigger crew, and that was to premiere at Tribeca in 2020, which of course was pandemic lockdown time. So we had a very good but very virtual festival run. And when that was concluded, they said, "What else do you have? We're thinking of making a low budget feature. So give us some ideas. We don't want any period pieces or biopics." And so, of course, we gave them a list of ideas, and then we slapped this one on to the end of it. It's the story of Roger Sharp, who in 1976 helped overturn New York City's ban on pinball. And they, I think, sparked to it in the same way that we did. And we wrote the script. We talked to Roger. We shot in the fall of 2021, and we've had our most of our festival run, technically, we're still in it, still traveling, and it is out, and people seem to like it. And maybe we'll get to make another one sometime soon. Like, that's where we are. We're just extremely pleased that it's gotten to where it is now. It stars Mike Feist and Crystal Reed and Dennis Boutsikaris, and it's been a blast, an absolute blast.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. And how many times have you had to say almost exactly what you just said? How
Usually
many
I let
times have you
Meredith
been
say
interviewed? Okay.
Yeah, this is one of the times that I'm good. This is great. I relaxed.
And I will say, just so you know, like earlier, I had some, tepid comments about my own podcast that Matt seemed to take issue with. Just so you know that we're not artificially blowing smoke. Like, if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, 96% audience score. So it's not that's hard data. That's not just Jethro and Matt being nice guys on the podcast to the people they invite. Because if you made a shitty film, we would absolutely tear you apart for it. We would point by point go through all of its deficiencies.
That's
but no,
true.
it is a lovely film. It has a little documentary sort of patina on it, and there, in fact, when you guys, this is not a spoiler because it happens the first few minutes of the movie, but there's some back and forth between playing with the reality of the sort of documentary framing of it and the character whose life story is being documented, sort of interacting with his earlier self. And it reminded me of, I don't know if you guys know 24-Hour Party People. It's a movie about,
I know of it.
It's a movie about the sort of emergence of the Manchester rock scene that I think Joy Division came out of and whatnot. But Steve Coogan plays a character, and there's a certain point in the movie where Steve Coogan, who's playing one of the big wigs in the Manchester rock scene, is at a bar, and he points over to like, you see that guy? That's the guy that I'm playing in this film. And it had that similar playfulness about it. It didn't take itself too seriously when but it's just an utter delight. Thoroughly enjoyable film.
I didn't really. Are you a closet pinhead, Jethro?
So when I did Boom Chicago in Amsterdam, and one of the guys who owns that is a guy named Andrew Moskos, and he was a pinball nut. So he always made a point of having a pinball game in the theater. And more than once I got in trouble for playing pinball during a break at rehearsal and not getting back to rehearsal on time. But one of the games that we had there was Medieval Madness, which is like one of the best pinball games of all time. So I wouldn't say that I have a universal love of all pinball games, but there are a couple like Monster Bash and Medieval Madness that I could just sit in front of and spend $100 on and play for like 8 hours. And I would if I didn't have like a family and a wife who occasionally require my attention.
Medieval Madness is the game that so after we had interviewed Roger and we delivered the script, but before we started shooting, so there was a sort of a brief period in between, and I was going cross country, and we stopped in Chicago to finally meet Roger in person, and I brought me into his house, and he met his dogs, met Ellen, and all this, and then he's like, "Let's go play a game of pinball," and I'm sitting there thinking, Roger, I did not play pinball. And then the pandemic, I haven't really been I've been in one pinball arcade since we started writing this, just because I felt like I needed to. Yeah. But she's like, it'll be fun. And we sit down on Medieval Madness, or belly up to it, I should say. And he cleans my clock, just absolutely destroys me.
Oh, it's not even close.
No, it was so. Yeah, I have a fondness for Medieval Madness only because I get to tell that story of being beaten by one of the best pinball players of all time. So yeah, it's great.
And Monster Bash, he just recently schooled us on in South Carolina at a screening there. Yeah. The guy is incredible. And in the sort of pinball community, he's kind of a mix between Babe Ruth and Santa Claus, right? He's this sort of mythic feature, and he was an EP on the film, and he helped out a lot. The pinball community was extremely supportive and like sourcing all of these machines that we used in the film. But Roger would call them up and say, "Hi, this is Roger Sharp," and they'd say, "Yeah, right." No, really.
One person called his son, who works at Stern.
That's right.
To ask him did your dad really call me? Because I have a message, and the son is like, yeah, that's my dad. Please call him back. He needs help.
That's awesome. That is so cool. Yeah, and I will say when I started watching the film, I was like, oh, that's him. That must be the actual guy. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, that's not the actual guy. That's not the actual guy at all. That's an actor.
It is indeed. There's been some confusion on that front. Somebody, I think at Heartland, I remember overhearing patrons saying that guy was so good. I can't believe he did all that in the 70s, and then he went on to star in Better Call Saul. He's had an amazing life.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Because I did feel like I recognized him, but I also like I don't know.
You may have recognized him from Batteries Not Included as well.
Oh,
it depends on what generation you're from. I guess.
That is possible that I recognized him from that.
Yeah,
actually,
I thought you might. Yeah,
I definitely saw that. So yeah,
sure.
Yeah. So anyway, but I mean, I always think that I recognize people. I mean, I was watching the younger version of him, and I was like, "Is that Meredith in the film? That looks kind of like Meredith." But it wasn't you. So, well, this is awesome, guys. Thank you for sharing all of this because, like, I don't get to talk to you that often, and I was curious about all of this, and I agree with Jethro. I really enjoyed the film as well. I play some pinball, but not nearly as much as Jethro clearly has. And most of that I've been playing lately has been virtual reality pinball, which they've actually found a way to make fairly good at this point, which is crazy. Not nearly as good as actually being at a machine, obviously, but like the physics on the, I think it's the Star Wars pinball game that I have, the VR Star Wars pinball game. And there's like 20 different tables in it. And like, it does feel like you're actually playing pinball, kind of. Versus like on a computer or something where you're just remember when pinball used to come with Windows? There was like that Space Cadet pinball game.
Oh, sure.
And it was just like, oh, well, if I hit the space bar at the right time, I'll win the game. Well, it's so cool. And so congratulations on the film, folks. If you haven't seen it yet, it is streaming. Where is it streaming exactly? Everywhere? Just everywhere?
So now,
what platform do you get the biggest cut from? That's
none of them. At this point, I think it's video on demand on Apple Plus and Amazon Prime, and what are the others?
YouTube.
Right.
I mean, it's all over. Yeah, wherever you find, any place online that you can get video on demand, you could probably find it.
So it's on the torrent sites then, or is that
probably?
Okay.
Yeah.
And we've
been steering people to Apple primarily, but Amazon is also quite good.
And at some point, it'll end up on a streamer. We just we're not producers on our own film, which maybe we should have been, because I don't actually know.
We'll understand things better. Yeah.
It is in theaters though, also. Limited release,
yes,
right?
It is. It's a very limited release. So it started with 5, and then others started popping up. I know. Oh man,
the
I know
producers
it's in New York. And go ahead.
Yeah, and I was going to say the producers behind the film, MPI Original Films, they have a website that they set up, pinballfilm.com, and that's where they're adding all of the theaters. So if you go down to the bottom, you'll usually be able to find them. But sometimes even a Google search will let you know. People are doing special sort of one-time screenings. I know there's one happening in Buffalo in a couple of weeks, I believe, and it's going to be 1 or 2 showtimes.
Cool. Well, I'll try to remember to put that link in the show notes so that if folks want to find it, they can, because they should, and it's great. And congratulations on that. But we didn't bring you here to interview you about your film, despite it being amazing. And I mean, our podcast is just, according to Jethro, middling. We need a destination for this episode to get to. We're starting at Emu War, but we need to know where we're going. So did you two come up with something? Did you arm wrestle for it? How did you figure this out?
I basically just went looking for the weirdest stuff I could find.
Nice.
And ran it past Meredith, and he gave me a thumbs up.
Okay. All right.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. I love it. So what did you come up with?
So the destination I'd like you guys to head to is, let's trim our hair in accordance with the socialist lifestyle. This is this is a PSA type program that was generated by North Korea between 2004 and 2005 because long hair can adversely affect human intelligence. I don't know if you know that, but apparently us long hairs have a problem, and North Korea is here to fix it. And what really fascinates me about this program is that it's a series.
Wow. They couldn't get it all done in one, could they?
The first episode, or maybe it's the first two, is about the proper hairstyles that one should maintain. The rest of the episodes are about finding people in public with long hair and shaming them, posting their names and addresses in order to create peer pressure for them to cut their hair properly.
What?
Wow.
You're welcome.
That is insane.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So apparently you're only allowed 2 inches of hair. You can have it a little longer if you're over 50 in order to cover baldness.
Now, was there other than hair length, was there like another level for why this was put out in North Korea? Like, are there particular populations they're targeting, or just trying to curb Western influence? Like,
absolutely trying to curb Western influence, right? This is the sort of cultural imperialism that they're trying to combat, right? The Kims all have their standard crew cut, or their what is it, the speed battle cut, I think is what it's called.
Party on the top, close on the sides.
Yeah. And that's just how they do things.
Communist party on the top, close on the sides.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Oh man,
well done.
That's such a great joke that we're gonna go back and edit this episode so that I say it. Right.
That's great. That's just like Austin and I work. So yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Gee, it's Meredith was awfully quiet, wasn't he? Oh,
Didn't say a word.
So what year did this come out?
Ish.
Between 2004 and 2005.
Oh, wow.
Very recent.
Not even, I guess I was thinking like back when long hair was shocking and moving through like in the 60s and 70s that it was, but by 2004 and 2005, it kind of become passe. Like, who are they trying to protect against? Fabio? Like, it just doesn't seem nearly as threatening or revolutionary at that time. Oh, well.
So yeah, just remember, if you go back and watch this on YouTube, because there are clips on YouTube, that it was created after you and I met, Matt Hartman.
Well, good. And maybe because we met, who knows?
Who knows? Butterfly
you've got some long hair about yourself.
I do.
So perhaps it's you.
Yeah.
Let's trim our hair in accordance with the socialist lifestyle. That is everything I watch about North Korea, it's always more and more fascinating to me, because it's just like, I can't believe that people live in a totalitarian state like that. And it is, I can't wait to find out a humorous angle on the totalitarian state of North Korea.
Yeah, it seems funny, right? Until you dig down and realize, oh no, there are real world consequences here that aren't funny at all. But
right, the title's funny, though.
At least we can take some solace in the fact that this is the form of punishment, right? This for the long hairstyle, it's just public shame.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Could have been worse.
Worse ways to go. Yeah, there are worse ways to go.
I feel like there's a thread going through some of your stuff here, Austin, about anti-government power, because the pinball movie is all about how this officious boob who
there is a bit of that. Yeah, sure. But by that same token, there's some pretty horrendous PSAs that the U.S. government put out too. So
there you
go. If you have the free time, look up One Got Fat. That's a true horror show.
That's really
yeah.
Sounds terrible.
It's all about,
don't look it up.
It's about bicycle safety.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Okay then.
Okay.
Well,
that's not what I expected at all.
We can't let other countries outstrip us in the ability to produce propaganda, because
there you go.
Then you'll have a propaganda gap, and then we'll lose.
Yeah, you got to be number one in something.
Exactly.
So this. Do you? I'm just trying to figure out
question, Matt.
I'm trying to figure out how we're going to get there. So I'm trying to ask a question that's going to get us some sort of like clue as to how we're going to get there. Is there any other state-run television in North Korea that you're aware of that would be more popular in any way? Like anything that we might have heard of in the past, or I can't think of anything. That's why I'm asking.
Not off the top of my head. No,
Okay.
I'm not
All
sure.
Right. Well, that's fine. You don't need to like look it up or anything like that. I was just curious if I was missing something, some obvious path in that might get us there. But I don't think that there is. I think that this.
We'll get there fine.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. I know we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll probably get there. It's not like this is postmodern jukebox. It's not
exactly
not like it's tough like that. Okay. Well. This is amazing. This may be one of my favorite, at least by name, one of my favorite suggestions that we've ever gotten here. I don't know that the spirit behind it is all that great, but I like the name a lot. So cool. Well, before we let you go, we walk. It's a drunkard's walk because it's a random walk, and that's a mathematical principle, and et cetera, et cetera. And if you don't know it, folks, you can look it up. But we also occasionally drink as we walk. And so I will ask, are either of you imbibing this evening? Anything at all? Any kind of drink, even if it's not an alcoholic drink?
I am. I have
a.
Oh, you go.
Oh, you guys are good.
No, it's a race now.
It's like you're in the hall.
I'm drinking Canada Dry bold ginger ale. It is somewhere between regular ginger ale and ginger beer. And maybe once the kid is in bed, I can add a little bit of something to it.
Interesting. All right. Meredith, how about yourself?
A pamplemousse natural essence LaCroix sparkling water.
Nice. Pamplemousse.
Wow. Yeah. You Hollywood types go hard.
Yeah.
We're digging deep tonight.
Yeah.
Well, they got to be on their game. At any moment, paparazzi might jump out and try to take a picture. So you got to be on guard at all times.
That's right.
God, I need a haircut.
Paparazzi are famously stalking writer-directors of indie films.
Always. You got to watch yourself. Jethro, what about you, man? Are you?
Yeah. So I actually am having a Coppercraft Distillery, which is a Holland, Michigan made bourbon.
Wow.
It's their straight bourbon whiskey, and it's so delightful that the bottle I bought late last week that I intended to have for this week got finished, so I had to buy another bottle.
Oh, okay. So it's that good. All right.
It's delightful. Yeah, I love it. It's great.
Awesome.
And you, sir, what are you having?
Well, I am having some. So most of the time, I drink the bourbons and the whiskeys and the whatnot, and most of the time I have like the bottle with me, and I take a picture of it and I put it on our Instagram and things like that. Well, I can't do that this week because a friend of mine who I used to work with, I saw at a conference last week, and he was nice enough to give me a sample of a bottle that he got of a very rare bourbon called Old Fitzgerald. And it is it's the 2022 version of Old Fitzgerald. It's a 17-year-old bourbon, which I didn't realize that age really made much of a difference with bourbons. I actually thought older bourbons weren't any better. But as it turns out, this is fantastic. It is delightful. So a shout out to my friend Edwin for this, and a shout out to what is this thing called? Iron and Ore, I think, is the name of the company that makes these little 3-ounce bottles, these little travel bottles that they come with like a glass, and you can like put them together, and you can travel with just 3 ounces of a drink, and then have a nice glass for your, if you're in a hotel room or something, you don't want to drink.
Get it by the
cups.
TSA.
Yeah, exactly. It's great, and this bourbon is great, and it's all just great. So so there you go. That's it.
All right then.
That's all I got.
Excellent.
Well, sounds like you have better friends than I do, Matt.
I have one better friend than you.
Oh, okay. All right.
But that's it. The rest are all way worse. Trust me. So
fair.
Then your friends. I mean, not
sure. Okay.
This has been a delight. The Bragg Brothers, thank you very much for being on our podcast. It is amazing to have you and to hear your stories. And we're just delighted to try to get to Let's Trim Our Hair in accordance with the socialist lifestyle from Emu War. It's going to be a challenge, but we accept that challenge. So thank you.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
Excellent.
Could be.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. All right, Jethro, we are off and on our way to try to figure out how to get between these things, but we have to make a prediction first.
Oh, yeah.
So I invite you to write down a number of how many you think it's going to take, and I'll write down my number. And I have done it. I have written down a number. Have you written down a number?
I have written down several numbers.
No. You can. Oh, several digits or several numbers?
Several numbers.
Stop that, Jethro. Only one guess. One guess per.
That's all I'm doing.
All right. Well, let's see how this is going to go, man, because we are starting at the Emu War. And for those that didn't listen last week, you might not know that this was a nuisance wildlife management military operation that took place in Australia in 1932 to try to get rid of a lot of emus.
Indeed.
And, it was not very successful, is my understanding.
Oh, no, they had to have a second one, if memory serves.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So we've got to get from this military operation about wildlife to this North Korean television show. Is that what we're calling this? A television show?
Propaganda films is my understanding.
Propaganda film. Okay. All right. Oh, so it's a film. It's a film. It's not TV.
It's a series of video entertainments.
Okay. Okay. So we're not.
So
we're not
I
100%
yeah.
sure.
I don't get the sense that it's a series like The Cosby Show or something. Ooh, that was a bad choice.
Not like that one, but
yeah,
maybe like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Let me take that. I don't think that it was like a series like Louis. Oh wait, no, that was also
God,
bad.
what are you doing? Stop it.
Keep going.
Stop it.
No, I get the sense that it was a series of propaganda films. Like
Okay. Well, that's my misunderstanding.
He explicitly mentioned there were a couple of them, but I don't get the sense that it's like an ongoing narrative thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, so I'm going to point out that I do notice there are some mentions of movies. There's like cinematography is mentioned on here, as is down here at the bottom. I don't know if you saw this or not. Under Legacy, in 2019, a musical adaptation of the story was workshopped in Melbourne by playwright Simeon Yayaloglu and composer James Court. That's much easier to say. An action comedy movie retelling the events, written by John Cleese, Monty Franklin, and Rob Schneider, was originally slated for release in 2022 and now scheduled to begin production in 2023.
Wow. So as are we all eager for a John Cleese Rob Schneider collaboration.
I know, and Monty Franklin. Let's not forget Monty. I'm not sure who that is.
Monty Franklin, by the way, who is not linked here. So.
No, not linked. So not. I don't know who that is, and maybe I don't need to. I don't know. But I don't. I mean, I don't know that John Cleese or Rob Schneider is going to help us very much to get to North Korea. Although it might. See, because my thought, Jethro, think about this for me for a moment, if you will.
Okay.
Wasn't there a movie made called like The Dictator that was about North Korea that like wasn't released, and there was all sorts of whatever around it with like
so are
James
you
Franco
thinking,
and
are you James Franco and Seth Rogen made a movie called The Interview, I believe.
The Interview. I'm sorry, you're right. Not The Dictator.
The Dictator was a Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yes. You're absolutely right. But I'm thinking like maybe that is a path, right? Maybe something like that. So if we were to use like cinematographer or Fox Movie Tone News or maybe even Rob Schneider to get into that kind of group of people. What do you think about those types of things?
I think that's a possibility.
Okay.
I'm not totally against that. I do think that there's a possible route in through personal hygiene and grooming.
Okay.
Like if we get into hairstyles and things of that nature that might get us in that way.
Interesting.
There's also the propaganda possibility. Now that
yes,
it that's something that might be available to us. But
No,
any propaganda is likely going to be coming from a government.
Yeah, I like that. I like the propaganda one. The grooming one I'm not as big of a fan of because I have a tough time figuring out exactly how, like, if a page on haircutting would actually link to something like this. I guess it could, but I think that the odds are lower than the propaganda or going through like filmmaking in some way. And we did just get off the line with two filmmakers, so I'm kind of gonna argue in the favor of like going the filmmaking route and going through Hollywood and going through that type of things. But if you have a strong argument the other way, I'm willing to hear it for like something else.
No, I'm all for it. I feel like a thematic cohesion for the episode is something that's desirable. So
Sure.
Yeah, do you want to go through cinematographer then?
Do you think cinematographer or Rob Schneider to get, like, if we're going, so cinematographer gives us a greater a range of possibilities to get in through. Rob Schneider, it's like, well, then we have to get to that movie, The Interview. I feel like,
not
necessarily.
I mean, I feel like Rob Schneider has had his moment in the sun, and
okay, all right. So
I think
cinematographer.
I think it is at this point in the podcast path that we need to go broader rather than narrower. So I would object to Rob Schneider for that reason. So I would say cinematographer.
So cinematographer or director of photography. Did you know they were the same thing?
I did. So it's under the background section. It is the last sentence of that section before the war, and cinematographer is a link there.
Yes, cinematographer. Cinematographer actually is how you would read that. Yeah, so they've got the image that they have. The very first image is a camera crew sets up for scenes to be filmed on the flight deck for the motion picture Stealth with the crew of the Nimitz class aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln. What an interesting movie to have the prime example from. Stealth.
Yeah, I've never heard of Stealth.
You've never heard of it? I do remember the movie. I want to say it came out in like the early 2000s. Although now I'm mousing over it. Yes, 2005. There you go. So I wasn't too far off. Jessica Biel, Josh Lucas, Jamie Foxx. So there you go. A science fiction action film directed by Rob Cohen. So does that mean anything to you? Does that sound like something that you want to go through? The movie Stealth?
Not at all.
No, me neither.
Yeah, I'm really struggling here to find something that means anything to me. It's a relatively short page.
It is a relatively short page. I do see Academy Award for Best Cinematography and just Academy Award are both linked. So that might get us into, a wider range of films. There are a lot of films listed here, actually. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Summer of Sam, He Got Game, the Batman films, Transcendence, Christopher Nolan's linked on here, Spike Lee. I mean, there's a lot of people. Speed, Twister, Die Hard, Basic Instinct. None of these really seem to have much to do with propaganda or North Korea.
Sadly, yeah.
The Coen brothers are linked on here. The Handmaid's Tale is on here. That's interesting.
Is it now? Where?
Yeah.
Whereabouts is it?
It is, let's see, Beyonce's Lemonade before winning an Emmy for directing The Handmaid's Tale. Reed Moreno. Now, it is a link to the television series. So that might be... That
could get us into that could get us into totalitarian governments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I like it.
You like that?
I like it.
All right. I don't like the idea behind it, and I've never watched it, but I like the idea that it might get us where we need to go.
I watched the first several seasons of it with my darling wife, and then she soldiered on for the last season or two without me. At a certain point, it just becomes kind of torture porn.
Yeah. That's kind of why I didn't watch it in the first place, honestly, because it's how it seemed to me. But
yeah.
But there it is, the Handmaid's Tale TV series, to differentiate from the novel from 1985 by Margaret Atwood. And I do see totalitarianism is linked on this page.
Where? Oh, I see it. There
one
it is.
One of the very first things up there. So that may be our best path, though I'm looking real quick here through just to see if there's other social
There's
classes is in here.
A lot of cast mentions here.
Yes, well, yes. Plain dress, a practice among some religious groups, primarily some Christian churches in which people dress in clothes of traditional modest design. Probably not. Coif is on here, though.
Coif?
Oh, coif, excuse me. Yes, it is pronounced coif, isn't it?
Where is it? Where is it located?
Coif is under. It's in the plot section. It's about 4 paragraphs down. So that takes, also known as wigs. A coif is a close-fitting cap worn by both men and women. So there you go.
I did not know that.
I thought it. I didn't know that either. I thought it was.
I had always
hair.
Thought of a coif as a hairstyle or coiffure.
Yeah, me too. But clearly not. What about a coif? What'd you think of that?
I've never heard that other than very recently by a friend who I will
an idiot
protect his identity by.
No, I know who it was. I know who it was. Yeah, I see. Oprah Winfrey is linked on this page.
She loves it.
She's an uncredited appearance as a newsreader on a car radio. We've got Hulu linked on here in case that would get us. Did Hulu ever broadcast something about trimming our hair in accordance with the socialist? No, probably not.
I feel like totalitarianism is the right way to go.
I mean, yeah, I'm not seeing much else on here. HBO Nordic is linked. I'm just pointing that out because I think it's cool that exists. But it's actually just takes you to HBO, unfortunately. So, I'm just looking to see if there's anything else that would be a quicker path. I don't. Rotten Tomatoes. How about? Do you think Rotten Tomatoes page would talk about this?
No, I don't think let's trim our hair in the style of socialism is likely to be listed on the main Wikipedia page of Rotten Tomatoes.
So I found something that might get us to North Korea quicker, but I don't know that I want to follow it.
What is it? What moral quandary have you brought us, Matthew?
There's a link to presidency of Donald Trump.
Ha ha! Well, I feel like between that and totalitarianism, it's pretty much the same thing.
You think so?
Oh. We might as well go for the one we haven't directly linked on before.
Yeah, that's probably true. Oh, hey, wait, there is an outstanding contemporary hairstyling Emmy Award linked.
Is there?
Do you think that could be? It's not going to be a thing, but
yeah, I feel like it's going to take us to the award for that.
Yes. For sure.
We're several clicks away from getting to hair-related propaganda films.
Yes. All right. Well, totalitarianism then.
There it is. It's at the top of the page here.
Right,
and look at that. 2 of our most famous totalitarians, Joe Stalin and Adolf Hitler, right there at the top of the page. You know, a Wikipedia page is going to be great when it starts off with Stalin and Hitler.
You know, when the last page had them filming the movie Stealth at the top of it, I figured the person at the top of this was going to be some dictator I'd never heard of before. But no, here we are.
Some niche dictator that only the hipsters are into.
Yeah. So I see propaganda linked very quickly on this page, as well as dictator, autocrat. I mean, they're all here. Whole 9. I'm gonna guess that North Korea is probably linked on here somewhere, right?
Certainly could be, but if propaganda is linked, do we want to go to that?
Yeah, maybe. I see communism. I mean, maybe, but I guess my concern is that is such a broad category. I guess if we think that it's going to have something on it about I guess it might. I guess it might, right? Because propaganda films is going to get us into something like that, right? So,
yeah,
that may be the way to go. I'm continuing through the page here, which is quite long, I have to say, much longer than this cinematography page, which is a shame, or cinematographer, I should say. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you think if like Kim Jong Il was on here, that would be a better path?
Um, I mean, it's
Oh,
certainly
and he
possible.
is. Well, actually,
Is
no.
it
I'm sorry. This is one of his early. This is one of his predecessors. Um, one of
Kim
his
Il
relatives.
Sung?
Yes, Kim Il Sung, a
Yep.
totalitarian leader and founder of North Korea, is on here. I
Yeah.
bet he's on here later.
But curiously, North Korea not linked there.
But he is. He's linked, and you wouldn't want to go through North Korea because that would be geographical. So
I feel like we have to go through North Korea at some point.
you do?
I feel like
Wow.
it's.
I
I
don't
feel
know
like
about that.
it's highly likely.
I don't know how I feel about that. I did see something about socialism on here earlier. And
We've been through socialism, and I don't
Yeah.
know, Matt. I don't know how much of a scholar of socialism you are, but
not
a-
not much.
a relatively small amount of socialism is about hair length.
Oh yeah, is that right? Huh.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any of the current. I certainly don't see the current ruler of North Korea on here. And I feel like going. Yeah. I guess it's. I guess propaganda is the best choice.
I like it.
There's a lot of good choices on here. Actually, good choices in that they will get us there. Not good choices in that they are good choices for you to make in your life, folks.
Yeah.
But,
By the way, if just in case anyone who is listening to the podcast was seriously considering moving to North Korea based on the links that we picked, please
don't.
Please, folks,
Don't do it.
The paths that we take through Wikipedia are not the paths you should take through life.
That's
Let
correct.
me be very clear.
Very good. Yes, that's very.
I just don't want impressionable listeners to think that, well, Matt and Jethro said to go to North Korea. So.
I don't want them to think that either. I'm glad you brought that up because I don't want them to think that at all.
Thank goodness. Propaganda, shall we?
Yes, do it. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Propaganda is communication that is primarily used to influence or persuade an audience to further an agenda, also known as advertising. Okay, it's good to know.
Okay.
Here we go.
There's a lot of examples of propaganda on this page.
Indeed.
It is, again, quite a long page. There's a lot of U.S. propaganda info, as well as other countries, obviously. But wonder if that what was the one that he recommended to us? One got fat. I wonder that was just a PSA, though, right? That wasn't a.
Yeah.
That wasn't.
So I do see an example of North Korean propaganda.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Under types, there is a poster in a North Korean primary school targeting the United States military. The Korean text reads, "Are you playing the game of catching these guys?"
Interesting. Okay. And
So
is there a link there in some way, or?
Sadly, no, there is not.
Well, it's great that exists, I guess, but
I mean, I would be shocked if North Korea was not linked here.
North Korea is linked. I do see North Korea linked on here.
Okay.
I don't really want to go through North Korea, but I also understand that you feel that we must at some point, and I don't necessarily disagree. But I was hoping to find something more about like propaganda films, right? Like, do you see anything about propaganda films in particular?
I mean, I'm still working my way through the page here.
Yeah. Not seeing a lot. I do see there is a category link at the bottom, which I don't like, but it is propaganda by country, which would probably have it. But again, the category links feel so cheap and dirty and just gross.
Matt, come on now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like category propaganda by country is going to take us to North Korean propaganda, and that's going to absolutely get us to where we want to go.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. Propaganda film. I found propaganda film. I think we should go through propaganda film over the category one, but argue me out of it.
I don't.
Well, I'm still pretty convinced that I'm right.
Where is this link to propaganda film?
Propaganda film is under techniques. Common media for transmitting propaganda messages include news reports, government reports, historical revision, junk science is linked, books, leaflets, movies, links to propaganda film, radio, television, and posters. So I like movies, which takes us to propaganda film.
All right. You've convinced me.
Sweet. Let's do it so we don't have to go through a stupid, dirty category.
A propaganda film is a film that involves some sort of propaganda. What? That is the laziest sentence on earth. Who wrote this? Like an 8th grader who had a deadline for their English assignment?
It's possible. I will say that the photo here says the Why We Fight series depicts the Nazi propaganda machine. So there's a link to a series of 7 propaganda films produced by the U.S. Department of War from 1942 to 1945. So the fact that that is linked on here is encouraging. What is not encouraging is that the page is incredibly short.
You know, Matt, I'd like to direct your attention to the See Also section.
I just got there.
Of this article and the last link therein.
Yes.
Could you tell our listeners what that link is?
It says North Korean film propaganda.
I feel like that's a link we should click.
If we don't, we're fools. Let's do it. And it takes us to the middle of some it's North Korea film is the page it actually took us to.
Oh no. That's not what we wanted.
No. North Korea has a prolific propaganda film industry.
No. If you scroll up, it's propaganda in North Korea.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're absolutely right. It had I was looking at the URL and it had a hashtag film. It was just because that's where it took us on the page. Okay. Well, this has got to be good. So propaganda in North Korea is the name of the page. I have to write that down, but have you already found it? Is it on this page?
I mean, first of all, it is a very long page because North Korea has a lot of propaganda in it.
Yeah.
And I am very hopeful that it's on this page, because if it's not, then I feel like our options are limited.
Yeah, I don't know where we're going to go from here, because this is about the best. Yeah. I will say that actual film section has 2 links in it. Oh, what have you done?
See also.
Of course.
Let's trim our hair in accordance with the socialist lifestyle.
I see it.
We did it.
It is. Oh my God. That's nutso bananas.
Indeed.
That is nutso bananas. I love it.
Hooray. Look at that. That is amazing.
Let's trim our hair in accordance with the socialist lifestyle. Alternatively translated as "Let us trim our hair in accordance with socialist lifestyle." Okay, was a television program broadcast on state-run Korean Central Television in North Korea between 2004 and 2005 as part of a long-standing government propaganda against haircuts and fashion deemed at odds with quote socialist values.
Amazing.
There it is, man. There it is. We have done it. We have made the journey, and I can't believe it. And our little thingy whatsy here tells me that this took us 7 links in order to get to this. Jethro, what did you write down for your prediction? No, you did. Come on.
I wrote down 7. I wrote down 7.
You are a cheating. There's just no way in the world that you guessed 7 and it's 7. Show me the other pieces of paper. Show me all the pieces of paper in your office right now. All of them. All of them.
Here's
Let me see them all. Wait. What's that? That's a pile of Post-its right there. You son of a bitch. I know what you're doing.
It's not a pile of it's a pad of Post-its.
And all the different numbers are written on it. I see how this works.
Matt, first of all, you're correct to assume that I am such a small man that I would cheat my friend on a podcast we do together.
Yeah.
Just so I could have the brief dopamine rush of victory.
I know. I know you are. Well, you don't even know what I wrote yet. Maybe I wrote 7 also.
I suspect that your reaction.
No, maybe I just don't want to do the race again. Maybe I wrote 8. I wrote 8.
Oh, man.
I should have slowed us down. I should have sandbagged us, but no.
I feel like you slowed us down plenty. I feel like
do you? Oh, thanks. I think I took us on a pretty straight path there. That actually worked out really well. Well, Jethro, congratulations on your victory, and congratulations on our victory for finding this totally obscure North Korean propaganda film. I will say, though, our numbers are getting bigger and bigger. Our first 2 episodes only took us 4, 6 last week, 7 this week. What does next week have in store?
I mean, if present trends continue, this season might not ever end.
Oh my!
Because we could be at infinity by the time the season comes to its last episode.
I'm not sure if we have enough episodes for that, but maybe. Who knows? And the only way that we can find out is to keep listening, right, Jethro?
That's right. And I gotta say, all sincerity, and I'm not even blowing smoke because they're not on the podcast anymore. Go see Pinball, The Man Who Saved the Game. It's a great movie. You'll absolutely enjoy it. And if you don't, I don't want to know you. It's a delightful film, and you should all go check it out.
I agree.